Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast, adding games both new and old to your backlog, one slightly inappropriate episode at a time. My name is Christian, and I have got a question, guys. Does Obi-Wan get horny? Because I do. Joining us today is Taylor.
I've seen the best jiggle physics money can buy.
And Bobby.
And I don't think number pads belong on keyboards.
Wow. Those are fucking some hot takes. This week, we're going to be talking about Gacha games. Taylor did a little bit of an investigation and a game called Age of History 3. But first, Bobby, what's new with you?
Well, I'll tell you what's new. I got a new keyboard. I posted it in Discord, pictures, whole big explanation, and quite the conversation has sprung out of that. So hop on into our Discord and check that out, dlgaming.net. But this new keyboard, so I actually purchased a different one back in May from upgradekeyboards.com, and it said, look, this is going to take 3 months to get to you. And I was like, okay, whatever, you know. I placed the order.
Yeah.
3 months later, I checked my email. I'm like, oh, cool. My keyboard's going to be coming soon. I'm getting excited. And then I'm going through the email, and I realize that the email they sent me right after I placed the order said, we canceled your order because something was suspicious about the payment method.
Oh no!
Which I have no idea what.
About the keyboard, dude. There's no fucking letters on your keyboard. They were
I ordered it with no keycaps. So
yeah, no serial killers. We will deliver keyboards to no serial killers.
They didn't like me, I guess.
Yeah,
didn't want my money. So 3 months later, I realized, wow, this order for a keyboard that I put in did not even go through, and I just realized it now. So then I went back to the drawing board. I start doing research again, and I'm like, okay, because the keyboard that I wanted was sold out by the time that I noticed it. Plus, it was an older one. Anyway, I ended up landing on the Keychron K8 keyboard. And I switched out the switches. Now, the keyboard scene is nuts. So if you really want to get like the details and specifics, check out the Discord where we kind of explain a little bit more of it. But there are so many things about the keyboard that you can customize, and people get very particular about it. So just real quick, it's the Keychron K8. It's got Gateron white silent switches. I really like the silence. And I've got the 0.4 millimeter O-rings with PBT blank caps, except for my escape key, which is the little cat from Kiki's delivery service there.
Cute.
Check out the pictures. Like, it looks clean. It looks exactly how I wanted. I had to spend a lot of time picking out all the switches and replacing them, putting the O-rings on, swapping out the keycaps, but it was totally worth it. Really happy with how it turned out. And it is actually quieter than my last keyboard, which was Cherry MX Silent Reds with 0.2 millimeter O-rings. So I'm very pleased with that.
He didn't even have that written down, folks.
I imagine him sitting there typing, and every time he's typing, he's just listening to Depeche Mode, Enjoy the Silence.
Yeah, well, I don't know why I like the silent keyboard. I think it's because, like, when we record, it's always about trying to get things super quiet, or maybe it comes from way back in the day when the family computer was in the hallway and I would be up way too late on it, and I would be keeping everybody up with my typing.
Those buckling
so
springs.
I had to try and type silently.
Yep.
Maybe it comes from that. I don't know. But what I've found out is the sound a keyboard makes when you type on it is actually very important for a lot of people. And a lot of people are looking for a very specific sound. And they use a word to describe the sound. It's called thock.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to get learned today. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thock?
Well, this is what I learned this week.
Keyboard
yeah.
thock.
Yeah, a
Like
little vocabulary
thock?
for you here.
Is that a Merriam-Webster?
Thock.
Or are these words only whispered in the hallowed halls of keyboard customization?
Maybe. I mean, maybe it's working its way into the dictionary here. But yeah, so people are like talking about that type of sound you want with the keyboard. It's kind of a hollow but firm ringing, like knocking sound.
Like a thock.
Yeah, like a thock. And
Thock,
the keys that I had before,
Let's
the red ones, the red ones that I had, they had like that good sound. And you know what's really funny? So I showed the keyboard to my girlfriend when I finished, And she's like, what are you doing? Because I'm doing this at like 5 a.m. Like I wake up and I'm like swapping out the keys and I'm making all this noise in here. So she gets up and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, well, I'm swapping the keys out. See, these are the silent ones. Click, 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 click. These are the loud ones. Fuck, 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 fuck. That didn't sound good. And she's like, I like the louder ones better. I'm like, apparently everybody else does. Like they're looking for that sound, but not me. No, I like the silence.
Right.
I like a little tactile feel. I want to feel it when it's fully depressed.
You're more about the feel. There's got to be a word for that too, like a specific keyboard.
Some keyboard nerd lingo.
Yeah, there's something like that. There's like the travel, and then there's a word for like the travel when it comes back, like after you press and then it comes back. I don't know. I'm learning all sorts of things about keyboards. It's and next week mice.
Oh my God, I can't wait. So let me, you don't like the C, K, and thok. You're going for more of a t, 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 and the K. Is this?
Yeah.
You just want to hear the
I can pull it close to the mic.
Yeah,
let's do a little sound test here.
Yeah. Let's get it going. Okay.
All right. So here's the new keyboard.
Yeah. I can't even hear it. Oh.
Kind of like a mouse scrabbling.
All right. Let me bring her out from the old keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can hear.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure that was great for our listeners there.
Normally we try to avoid
this
those
podcast
noises.
has ever been. Yeah, normally try, but not today. Today you get something special. Bobby, this is amazing. Thank you for going. So thank you for knowing all the lingo. The Keychron, K8, QMK, Gatoron, like all these words are crazy, by the way.
I noticed you went wireless and didn't mention that. Is there a latency issue?
I don't plan to ever use the wireless feature on it. It just happened to be wireless. It was the newest version. Maybe I'll use it. Maybe I'll get a Bluetooth adapter. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever use the wireless.
Interesting.
But it's there.
It's there.
And it is RGB.
Case.
This is the first RGB keyboard I've had in a very long time, too.
This is crazy, dude. What happened a couple weeks ago? You said we were getting the new Bobby, or you said the world has been opened up to possibilities. I feel like this is fruit from that tree. Okay. What's new from me? Guys, what are the first 5 games you have ever purchased on Steam? This trend is going around online. I thought it was so cool. Blast from the past. And I didn't know my games. So Civ 5, Galactic Civ 2, Galactic Civ 2 again as a gift a month later. Apparently, I didn't have anyone to play with me, so I had to buy it for someone. Rome Total War and Space Engineers. Now, this is from 2013 to 2014. I got my Steam account late, I think, as far as this room of podcasters is concerned. I'm, surrounded by veterans over here. I'd love to hear, what are you guys' 5 first purchased games on Steam?
Well, I'll go next. I've got Audio Surf. This was back in 2009. Defense Grid, The Awakening. Deus Ex, the first one with the expansion pack. That was one purchase. Half-Life 2, and then Kane and Lynch, Dead Men.
I haven't played any of these games.
Whoa.
Yeah. Sorry, by the way, I feel like I need to apologize after saying that. Bobby, what are your
Dude, I need to apologize. I didn't realize it was the 5 first purchased games. I thought it was the most recent. First purchased is way more interesting, especially for me, because I've had a Steam account since like 1972.
Oh, I should have caught that when RoboCop Rogue City was on your list. I didn't even look. I wanted to be surprised. Okay,
I got it here. I got it. This doesn't seem right. But first purchase, November 22nd, 2007 was Team Fortress 2.
Nice. OG.
Makes sense. Second one, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare.
Jesus Christ, dude. What's wrong with you? No, sure.
I had that on disc.
Yeah, I had it on disc.
Next one, this is a good one, the Super id software pack. So this was a bundle that had like Commander Keen and a bunch of those classic id software games. I'll stand by that one. Next one is Day of Defeat Source. Now, when everybody was playing Counter-Strike back in the day, I was playing Day of Defeat. I absolutely loved that game.
Always been a rebel.
And then, of course, Left 4 Dead.
Nice.
Did you pay $30 for Team Fortress 2 like I did?
I don't know, because I feel like it would have been part of the orange. So back in the day, you'd buy the orange box, and then eventually when Steam came around, you could like redeem those games on Steam. So they became part of Steam. So I don't know. Well, that would have included the original Team Fortress. So yeah, I paid for Team Fortress 2. I don't think it went free to play till 2009, 10. I don't know. It was like one of the first free to play games. I mean, things weren't free to play back then, really.
It's pretty cool. Like I've been gaming for so long, since maybe I was like 9 or 10 on the family computer, but pretty much only on discs and then a lot on Warcraft 3. And I just imagine there's so many kids out there who are likely on like Roblox or Fortnite, and maybe they don't even know Steam exists as like a place where other games can be found, like cool experience. I don't know. That was my experience growing up as a kid. Like I didn't know Steam was a thing until I don't know. Someone must have been like, "Hey, want to play Civ 5 with me?" And I needed to get it on Steam to play. I don't know. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why I downloaded Steam, but
my first games were on floppy disks that we would copy from my friend's dad, like Warcraft 1.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that street cred. I've been blown out of the water. Guys, what? Oh, wait. Sorry about this. Guys, of course. We have bumpers. Obviously, I got to hit the bumper button. What did you play this week, Taylor?
I played a bunch of gacha games, and it's not just this week. It's been the past 2 weeks. As you may have noticed, I wasn't on the show last week because I was
because you were preparing the. Wait, sorry, I had something prepared.
Okay.
Breaking news this week. Taylor is bringing you Gacha. Okay, it was better in my head.
Thank you, Christian. I'm here reporting from the scene.
My wallet is empty.
No, I had played a bunch of gacha games this past week. The list of games, I'll start out with that. Zenless Zone Zero, Horizon Walker, Nike, Goddess of Victory, Wuthering Waves, Blue Archive, Brown Dust 2, Uma Musume, Pretty Derby, Action Timeman, and Snowbreak, which is a total of 9 games.
Damn.
So, no one come at me for not having, done enough research. I've done plenty of it.
Yes.
But I decided to dive down into these games after I was just browsing Reddit one day. And I think it was the gaming subreddit or somewhere like that. Someone had posted like the monthly income of gacha games. And like in April, one of them made $100 million just that month. Right. And the rest of them were in the hundreds, in the tens to at least $1 million. And I was like, this is massive. This is a huge industry, big blind spot for me. I've never played a single one of these games before.
Big blind spot for all of us, dude. Like, I think everyone on this podcast probably has no idea what the fuck is going on in gacha world. And some of our listeners from time to time post like screenshots and I'm like, yeah, it looks cool. But no idea. None.
I had all these preconceptions. It was like, that's just hot anime girls for horny dudes.
Yes.
And, diving into it, that's some of it. But there are other aspects to these games that were a little surprising. But before we get like too far into it, I just want, for those who don't know, gacha games are named after gachapon machines from Japan, which is where like those machines you put a quarter in and you spin the thing and it pops out a little plastic like thing where you open and there's like a little character figurine inside.
Like a little homie.
Yeah, kind of like like you go to a pizza place.
That was the runner-up name, Little Homie Machine.
You guys, I'm sorry, you guys don't know what little homies are. That's something from like probably before your time, and probably not in Canada either. But
okay, fucking Gandalf. Well,
wow.
Oh, where's Amelia?
But the mechanics are similar to like Magic the Gathering, opening card packs or loot boxes. So we're all familiar with like the core concept of you pay money to open up a thing and get random stuff, which is what gacha games are at their kind of core.
Okay.
And so like and also I will say I did play a bunch of them, but I didn't get too deep into any of them because they do require like a fair time commitment. But One of the things that surprised me right off the bat was that these games can be like of any genre. Like any genre, you can insert the gacha mechanic into it. You know, that random chance box. So like strategy games, shooting games, hack and slash, like beat 'em ups, and exploration style games like Call of the Wild were the most common.
Now, this is going to probably sound dumb, but I always thought these games were like Final Fantasy turn-based tactic games.
Some of them are.
Like,
there's a couple like that.
Okay, but you're saying there's strategy gacha? Like, this is fascinating for me. Like, I
wouldn't say like grand strategy, but in terms of like strategic gameplay elements, turn-based tactics, I kind of throw under strategy generally.
Got it.
But there are some like strategic elements that aren't necessarily what you would think in terms of like an anime girl game.
Right. You were surprised, essentially. You were like, there's something deeper going on here other than opening up these loot boxes for cold hard cash.
Exactly.
Okay, sweet.
And then one like defining feature other than the gacha mechanic is that they all had visual novel storytelling in them.
Okay.
Which, if you're not familiar with those, it's like when I did the Ren'Py deep dive, those were all visual novels where it is almost like a slideshow. You've got the characters pop up on screen and they talk to each other, and you get to see more detailed art. You know, and oftentimes it'll be like hand-drawn art of the characters talking to each other.
Okay.
And that kind of sets up the world and the reason why you should be invested in this, and the storyline, etc. Then I feel like they were often these like, aside from the beginning of the game, these virtual novel sequences were often kind of like rewards for getting far enough in the story or completing enough tasks, etc. Like, so if you think about it, you've got these characters. That is like the core feature that you're spending the money on. You want to get new characters, and so each character is different, of course. And so, like, okay, I want the one that looks like a maid, and then I'm going to want them to show up in the visual novel aspect of the game.
Got it.
So one of the like kind of like, aside from it being a reward and getting you invested, one of the other things that kind of shocked me right off the bat was that some of these games are fully voice acted, and they have seemingly like hundreds of hours of dialogue, which just goes to show the amount of money that goes into these. Like Zenless Zone Zero was the best in that regard to me. But they had a full English voice acted, with all the characters having their own distinct voice, and it was also like switched up the styles. Like sometimes it was comic book looking storytelling, other times it had the 3D models represented.
Interesting. Okay, a real quick interruption, and this kind of hooks into a listener question at the end of the show, so I think I'm going to spoil that a bit. But last week talked about the Total War games and how they switched, or a couple weeks ago talked about Total War games and how they switched from when you defeated a faction, you unlocked it, to now it's cold hard cash. And someone commented on our TikTok saying, hey, yeah, you got a point there that it's kind of lame, but to be fair, all these factions play extremely different from each other, and they're only really able to do that because you're paying the DLC for that faction, and they can invest the development time into making something really unique and fun for you to play. So my question with the gacha games is this sort of their, not justification, but is this the reason why those characters cost money? Like, if the character comes with all new voice acted lines, unique stories, ways they can interact with the world that are fun, that you can't do with another character, that took development time to accomplish. Like, sorry, I'm just realizing maybe I was missing that bit of this. Is that accurate?
I think it really depends on the game. So some of the games are more obviously cash grabby than others.
Okay.
like the higher production value games like Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves, those games, I think there is an argument to be made that, yeah, so you're paying partially for them to put a lot of development time into making these characters feel fleshed out and whole, and giving you that kind of bigger experience, like the listener pointed out.
Right.
But some of them, it is very much more my initial assumption of, oh no, they're just that I want that hot anime girl to be on my team.
Right. That's the other force at play here. Hot anime. Like, I understand. Okay, cool.
So like I said initially, my initial assumption was that it would all be kind of horny in some way, like
right.
You've got the hot anime girls, sure, like the pings of like pictures of hot anime girls, and I assumed that they would like talk to you all flirty and kind of,
like Bobby to his keyboard. Yep, got it.
Yeah, early in the morning, 5 a.m.
He's thocking away. He's thocking away in there.
Thock, baby.
So Zenless Zone Zero, I never played that, but I did play Genshin Impact a little bit. And both those games are made by MiHoYo. Yeah. So I assume they're kind of the same. And I think that's the only experience I ever had with any type of gacha game. But Genshin Impact, I assume, qualifies as a gacha game because it has what you're describing with where it's like an RPG. It really is like a single player World of Warcraft. But then you have different characters that you can play as. They give you a few free up front, but the idea is that you're either going to grind or pay for the rest of them. And in a way, it kind of reminds me of MOBAs and their monetization strategy where they give you a few free characters or they have like a free rotation weekly and you can play those, but then you build up in-game currency or you purchase other playable characters and then that changes your experience there. And some, that in and of itself is not really a problem, but some MOBAs had better character design than others. So I've talked about this before, but Smite, I felt like every time they came out with a new god, that's what they called the playable characters in that one, it really felt like, well, they just took this ability from that god and this ability from that god, and they put it all into this god. It's like really nothing that I haven't seen before. But then Heroes of the Storm, I felt like did a really good job with their character design. I mean, they all felt very different, and they also felt like the characters that they were copied after, because they're pulling from all the different Blizzard games as well. So I mean, as far as it like being worth the money, I think it really depends in these.
That I would say that comparison to MOBA games, I also immediately drew because I was big into those as well. But I would argue that most MOBAs, even Smite, with like how you said, it felt like a mashup of other gods. They still played distinctly enough different that I felt more of a reason to want to get the new characters when they came out. For instance, Zenless Zone Zero, which, as opposed to Genshin Impact, which my understanding, not having actually played that one, is more about exploration. A lot of people compare it to Breath of the Wild, but for PC. And that's part of the reason it's one of the most popular of the gacha games. But in Zenless Zone Zero, the basic kind of combat loop is going to be extremely similar, regardless of the character. Like, yes, there's differences. So one of them is more of a ranged fighter, but at the end of the day, you're still doing these kind of fairly simple combos in think of like a fighting game or a beat 'em up hack and slash, where you press X a bunch of times and then occasionally press E for another ability, and then you have an ultimate.
Yeah. In MOBAs too, you typically find one character that you really like, and then you main that character. I feel like in these gacha games, it's more of a Pokemon got to collect them all type thing where you
Well, then they emphasize teams. So you build a team of characters generally. Like I would say
okay.
90% of the ones that I've played, when you're playing, you have multiple of these characters on your team that you can either switch between, and you're often encouraged to switch between. In Wuthering Waves, there's like intro skill and an exit skill. So you'll be fighting one enemy, but you're encouraged to swap to your next character in your roster, or a team of 3 to like trigger these abilities.
That kind of goes on the Pokemon thing too. Like that's kind of the same thing in those games where, like, depending who you're facing, you're supposed to go through a couple of Pokemon on your belt, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
They're collectathon type of games at the core. You want to get the different characters just like you want to get all the Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what they do, the more successful games, they try to appeal to as many kind of avenues as they can. So they'll, even the more chaste, quote unquote, games, like the less sexualized games, they still have the cute anime girls, but they might also have male characters and
male characters,
right?
Not in my video. No,
but they'll have other ways to like appeal to you in terms of like gameplay differences between them, like we talked about already, or different storylines. So they're really trying to tug at, okay, we're going to try and make this as broad of an appeal as possible to like have as many strings to tug at, to encourage people to spend their money.
Okay.
So, and then other games are way like more along with my expectation. So in terms of like just being pure horny, and Horizon Walker was the one that was the most in my face about it, where it was just like, no, these are hot anime girls that you get to interact with and they flirt with you. And there's not a big difference in terms of how they play. That one is like kind of a top-down, turn-based combat game at its core, but most of your time is not going to be spent on the battlefield. It's going to be spent in your barracks talking to the girls.
The barracks, right? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and and that one you're literally human god.
Yes.
So it's just a straight power fantasy, and you got a bunch of hot anime chicks lusting after you.
Right.
With super suggestive dialogue.
Okay.
In fact, the most surprising bit of gameplay that I encountered across all of these games was in that game, where at one point it forced me to go and massage one of my characters to help them relax.
Of course. Yeah.
And this was a mobile port that I had to use like Android emulation on the PC to play on PC.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all based on
like
touch.
A quick time event.
Yeah. So you're supposed to poke the screen and touch them in various spots to help them relax. And then and then you touch the wrong spot and they go, "Ooh, what are you doing, human god?"
What are you doing, human god? This gets some people going. All right. That's good to know. Mm-hmm.
But like I was saying before, a lot more of them were less that and more interesting, like trying to suck you into the story and not just get you going.
Right.
Another kind of universal aspect that I encountered was that all the games are really generous to begin with in terms of giving you premium resources or currencies, and whatever you need to like do they call it polling characters. That's what I've learned through looking at forums and stuff. You poll for the character that you want, and they'll have what are called banners, which will be the special events that are going on. So like currently it's summer. So all the games have a summer banner where like you get the chance to get the characters in swimsuits or other
gleaming swimsuit. That
summer
was
stuff like doing. doing
Popular
barbecue.
skin. Nice. Yeah.
And
I feel
the
like
MOBA
this
games do that
episode,
too.
we need to have a dictionary for all the terms we've learned, and so people can reference thocking and banners and
Gotcha.
just
Gotcha. Pon.
Yeah.
But gotcha just in English works so well because it's like, yeah, we got you, dude. We got you. You're spending your cold hard cash.
Yeah. And I know you have a bit to go, but did you spend cold hard cash? Did they get you?
No.
Did they gotcha? Yeah. No.
I managed 2 weeks not having spent a single cent. Not one red cent they got from me.
Your Google Play or however you access these games profile is in like some spreadsheet, and there's like 4 data analysts hovering around your. They're like, how could we not get it? You're like an outlier. Like he's played 9 of these and he hasn't spent $1. Like how do we get this guy?
The reason actually I think that I managed to avoid it was because I played 9. And so if I had played 1 or 2, I would have gotten deep enough into them to where that initial generosity period wore off, where they're not giving you free stuff to get you hooked into the game, and then you get to the real gameplay loop, which since most of these are also mobile games, the real gameplay loop is kind of designed around daily activities like an MMO. They want you to like main a game and play it every day. So you log in, you get the login reward of some currency, and then you complete 3 tasks to get the daily quest rewards, and then you're kind of done for the day, you know?
Yeah. These are probably all 10 out of 10 on that dark game design website that like,
yes.
Okay. They use every single hook available to human psychology.
I feel like all of them need that to start the like call 1-800 whatever for help with gambling addiction.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Government mandated PSA at the beginning probably needed. Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, like these kind of gameplay loop is more often in the mobile game kind of realm or MMO space of like, yeah, log in every day, do your stuff, and then you're kind of done. It takes like 30 minutes or an hour or somewhere between there. But
you know what's crazy? Battlefront 2 was technically a gacha game, right?
What? How? Tell us.
No, when it first came out, remember all the controversy about that and the loot boxes?
Star Wars Battlefront. Sorry, you said Battlefront, but I heard Battlefield.
I did too.
You're right. Totally, you're right. Yeah.
It was a gacha game. Yeah. But I think because that was Star Wars and that was like just an incredibly big game that everybody was playing, there was a lot more pushback on that than these other games, which are not, I wouldn't say they're niche, but they're not nearly as popular.
Well, also consider that Battlefront 2 was this part of a series of games, and the first game didn't necessarily have that. And you're going into it expecting one thing, and you're getting another.
Yeah, and Battlefront also pretty penny to buy, and a lot of these games are free, and I feel like that's part of the justification of, hey, it's free, you can play it, you don't have to spend any money. Whereas Battlefront 2, you paid the money, and then it was like 10,000 hours to unlock Darth Vader or some bullshit, and people were like, what?
Yeah.
You know, if that game had released free to play, I don't think it would have been as big of a problem.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But it's interesting because that could have, I mean, that's a AAA game. You know, that could have informed AAA gaming after that point, and we could have started seeing a lot more of that. And we don't really see loot boxes anymore. I mean, they're still around in older games that have always done it, but like any new games coming out, they don't really do loot boxes. I mean, there's legislation against it in Europe, maybe in the US, I'm not sure, but
they've definitely, even the games that still include the loot boxes don't tend to gate gameplay behind the loot box. It's generally just purely cosmetic stuff at this point. Whereas these gacha games, like, yeah, the characters play different. Or if you want to advance the story, you need stronger characters than what you currently have. Like this Nikkei Goddess of Victory game I was playing is a shooting gallery type game where there's like robots that drop on the screen and you have to shoot at them. And that was one I ran into walls with first, like the fastest, where eventually I got to a battle I could not possibly win with the characters it gave me. So then it was up to, okay, you either buy new characters by throwing money at the random chance machine, or they gave you 3 super OP trial characters that you could use 3 times a day. So you could still slowly advance the story while being free to play, but it would be slow going, only doing 3 battles a day.
This is fascinating. I love, Bobby, that you brought that up, that like, how would our PC gaming world be different if Battlefront made that move and
got
this
away with it.
and got away with it and had a little bit less of a reaction. But the mobile gaming world's still having these weird, like, I don't want to call them evil, but they're like preying on your psychology in just really obvious ways. And then how this other element of mainstream gambling on like sports betting and everything you can gamble on, like presidential elections, like anything is becoming so popular as well that like the legislation doesn't seem to be doing, like, it's more popular than it's ever been, ever, for sure, right? And yet we have the most rules there have ever been in response to that, but it doesn't seem to be curbing any of the actual, like, you can play these games today, right? And you can come across. So are they being fined? Like, I don't understand how they can do it, but
some of these Gacha games are banned in certain European countries. Like,
okay. Yeah. They
some
just
of the
take
stricter
the
ones
hit.
like Belgium are like, no, we don't operate there. But it's, I mean, think about like FIFA, the most popular console game. They have the card packs to get new players, and that's a Gacha game, like straight up.
Right.
You're getting different players that play differently from each other. And you got to spend real money for a chance at getting Cristiano Ronaldo or whatever. And they also do the same thing where they're just like, no, we just don't operate in Belgium because they require us to show the percentage chance you have of getting what you want.
Right. And if it's like 0.0 or whatever it is, people are far less likely. Yeah. So you can't play any of these games in Belgium, hey? Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, I assume some of them you can, where they're just like, sure, we're fine with being transparent or stripping aspects of the game out. But
right.
I think, looking at the AAA developers, like Bobby's brought up with Battlefront, you look at these sales figures, like these monthly sales figures. It's like, yeah, so, Blue Archive made $70 million in 1 month. And they look at that and they go, yeah, we should be doing that. Why aren't, like, the board is going, like, why aren't our games making $70 million a month?
Right. Yeah. And then they're in competition to the lowest. Yeah. Same with like the EA thing. Like the board member who was like, why can't we just charge people to pay for ammo reloads?
Exactly.
They remember that quote? I don't think I'm making that up. I think that was I'm paraphrasing, but I think that was the idea that, like, when you ran out of ammo, instead of the support class being able to replenish you, you pay money or you just die, or you don't have any ammo.
Just die.
you're just running around without any ammo, so it's not fun. Anyways, it's that was probably born out of like a competition mindset of like, hey, how come we're not, poker.com is making this much? Like, how do we get there? Yeah. Well, that's cool. And did you have fun, Taylor, at all?
I did. A couple of the games. So a lot of them were a slog to get through. And so, like I said, the core gameplay loop is often like 30 minutes a day's worth. But getting to that takes a long time. Starting up one of these games, you've got probably an hour or a couple hours worth minimum of like visual novels and tutorials and going through the first battles and blah, 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 blah. So the initial time investment for each one was quite a bit. And then you eventually get to the point where this generosity period runs out and they expect you to start paying or just doing the like core like dailies. And so several of the games I did not like. My least favorite was Action Time I'm In, which felt super dated. And I think it's one of the oldest games on this list. But there's a couple of them I could see myself continuing to play. Like Wuthering Waves, I put the most hours into. And that one was more exploration focused with combat and collecting up, flowers. And, there's a storyline that was fairly interesting. The setting of the world I found cool. And I never, in my time playing that game, felt like I needed to spend money.
Right.
Zenless Zone Zero, I would say, also did a really good job of kind of giving me the feeling of enjoying the game at my own pace. And the spending money part was there if I wanted to. Now, if I keep playing these games, maybe I'll hit the wall and realize, okay, now I'm done with them, because I don't expect that I'll ever feel that need to spend money on these games. That kind of so on the one hand, like doing this investigation into all these games, I get it a little more, but at the end of the day, I don't get it. Like, I'm never going to be one of those people that is super passionate about one of these games and is like maining them and going on the subreddits to chat with other people about it and, buying the subscription and throwing money at the game. Because at the end of the day, I have like 100 Steam games I've never played, a bunch on my wish list I want to play, and all of them are cheaper.
Yeah.
And have kind of more, like, the gameplay mechanics are deeper in a typical PC game.
And also the games you have are more varied than the different characters on one of the Gacha games.
Exactly.
Would be.
Yeah. Now, League of Legends, for instance, MOBA did get me. I spent a bunch of money on that game.
Yeah. So you're not immune. You're just resistant.
Yeah. But that one you would know what you're getting. So if I wanted the new character, I would load up $10 of premium crystals or whatever and buy the new character. There's no random chance. It wasn't like, oh, you might get Katarina, or you might get Leona, or you might get Garen. It was...
I think Steam itself would be more interesting if for one day a year, maybe on like April Fools, they were a gacha game. Like, buy 3 Steam loot boxes, get a random game. You don't know how it's going to play, what genre.
Any random game from the catalog on Steam.
Yeah. And you got like a little quest, like, the more loot box, the more games you play, the more, I don't know how they would do it. I'm just coming with it.
It would be like the summer sale where you have to do activities.
During one of the summer sales many years ago, they had a clicker game, which I don't think it was like a gacha game, but yeah, it was just like a clicker game. And I can't remember what you even got out of playing that. I think they made some sort of competition, like they broke players up into teams or something. I have to look that up. I forgot about it. I feel like Steam doesn't even try these days with sales.
Team Orange and Team Blue or something like that.
Yeah, maybe there were 2 teams. There was some sort of competition and there was some sort of reward that wasn't like super good, but it was something, and a lot of people just played it. But I feel like Steam, they used to put a lot into their summer sales. They used to have some sort of theme and game to go along with it, and like little mini games and things to participate in. Now it's just like, it's a bunch of games that are cheap right now for a little while, which honestly I'm okay with. Like, we don't need all that extra stuff.
Right. Keep it simple. Keep the things that tell me what the keys do, like the O, the P, the letters on the... Keep that off my keyboard. I don't need it. It wastes space. All right, cool. Thank you, Taylor. Like, truly, thank you for shedding a light on what has been a blind spot for me, and I imagine maybe quite a few other people. I think maybe I want to try Wuthering Waves.
I wanted to ask, like, after hearing all this, are you guys at all interested in these games?
I'm a little more interested at the idea that the money gets you a unique storyline or experience in the game, I'm not interested in buy the hot anime girl for my mobile game and massage her. Yeah, that's where I think
I drew the line there. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. But, if the argument is they're putting a lot of time into these and they're making a lot of money and they're taking some of that money and they're making it fun, then
I would say like the Hoyo-verse games, the MiHoYo games like Genshin, Zenless Zone Zero, those games, and Wuthering Waves, these more high production value games that aren't mobile, like they are on consoles and they're on PC. And those are the ones that I had the most enjoyment out of. And were the closest to like what Bobby was saying, like a single player MMO experience where you get to kind of go at your own pace and the whole world is like at your level. And to a degree, it was like, yeah, I can see myself continuing to play these.
Bobby, any chance?
I mean, the only thing that would drive me towards playing any of these games is the fact that I had a pretty good time playing Genshin Impact. I don't think I reached the point where it became necessary to pay or really grindy. So as soon as I hit that point, I would probably lose interest. But I did think, and Genshin Impact won awards and stuff at like the Steam or at the Game Awards, I think. Like it was, I thought, a really well-designed game. I love World of Warcraft, and this was like a single-player version of it. I think there's like a roundabout way where you can play multiplayer, or maybe you have to like reach a certain level or something. But I love a co-op game. So had it been co-op, I think that might have changed things for me, and I would have continued playing it. But I don't know, maybe I'll go back and check it out.
Fun. Okay. Now, I think I lied to you all in the intro. I said we were going to talk about Age of History 3. That was the game that I played this week. But I think let's skip along, Duban down past that because we spent the appropriate amount of time on this investigation, the amount of time that I think it was warranted. We can talk about this next week, guys. Age of History 3, spoiler alert, another grand strategy game. But I think some interesting points I want to talk about and get Bobby and Taylor's opinion on.
Playing a grand strategy game?
Unheard of. That's nuts. I did my own investigation on games I don't. Okay, anyways. The games that we want to play. Taylor, do you have a game up here?
Yeah, so I put Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous in our show notes, but mainly it's non-gacha games that I want to play.
Right.
I want to play games, anything that I don't have to like write a book report on next week.
Yeah.
So something familiar and fun.
Chess, checkers, back to the base, snakes and ladders. I'll do anything. Get me out of gacha. Okay, Bobby, and you?
So QuakeCon started like a week or so ago, and it always sneaks up on me. But one of the big surprises was that Heretic and Hexen got a re-release, kind of a modernization. And if you don't know these games, Heretic and Hexen, they're these classic first-person shooters from the 90s. They came out around the same time as Doom, Quake, or Doom 2, and it's like Doom, but sword and sorcery. You got spells, classes, items, armor class, things like that.
Sick.
And I played these back in the day. I played one of them. I played Hexen, and it was really cool because I absolutely love Doom. But I was like, oh, this is like Doom, but it's got classes and it feels a little more intellectual, not just like straight up run and gun, blow things up. So I did like these games back in the day. And of course, this is Night Dive Studios doing this reboot / remaster, re-release, whatever they're calling it. And they always do a fantastic job on these. What's really great about this is if you already own these games on Steam like I did, this is just included. This reboot, like you already have it. So you might already own these games. Which is pretty generous in my opinion. I mean, they include a lot of stuff here. There's a graphical update, obviously. It's a game from the 90s. It needed it. It's got like a high fidelity soundtrack, and it's just modernized the gameplay. Most notably, you can actually aim up and down. So in the very first person shooters back in the 90s, you could not aim up and down. I think in the first Quake you could, But the other ones, like the old Duke Nukem games, like
everything was on a plane. Like the enemies wouldn't require you to aim up.
But was
down.
it in this Discord, Bobby, that you shared that PC Gamer quote where it was like, the most compelling thing about this title is that the left thumbstick moves your character and the right thumbstick has your up and down the horizon directions. And like the reviewer was like, and this is nuts and crazy.
I don't think that was me sharing that. But
okay.
Was that like a review from like 40 years ago or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. Yeah, just this reviewer being mind blown about like the other dimensional possibilities.
Yeah, no, it was
FPS.
a big deal back then. So what would happen in these games? There would be flying characters or like characters that were on a different plane than you were, like lower than you. And if you shot at them, as long as you shot at them along the, what is the vertical one? Is that the x-axis?
I believe so.
As long as you were aligned with them, the bullet would just automatically go down or go up appropriately to hit that enemy. And there were these other games called 6 Degrees of Freedom or 6 DOF games that were like you were a spaceship and you could move in 6 degrees. And that was like incredible. So yeah, we've come a long way since that. But this game does include that. You can move your mouse and just target stuff all around. And of course, they've got some new content or some new levels in this as well. So I don't know if I'm going to get to this next week. I got something else on the menu, but I am definitely going to get back to this because I don't know, man. Like I really liked Hexen back in the day. I'm kind of like scared to go back to it and like realize it's not as good as I remember, but I have faith in Night Dive Studios. I believe that this game holds up and they did a good job with the reboot.
Dude, they're good stewards of the nostalgia, these guys.
I just don't see opportunity to spend more money on it, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I want to be able to unlock my classes randomly.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna, I think now that you're returning to regular gaming after this 2-week stint, it's going to be like, after you're jumping on a trampoline for a long time, you go on regular ground, you're like, hey, where's the bounce, guys? You're going to be playing like, I don't know, some deep RPG, and you're going to be like, wait, these dialogue options come free? What are you talking about?
and their boobs don't bounce automatically.
What? Where's the physics? Guys, where's the physics? Okay, speaking about physics, the game I want to play is called Fantasy Brothel Manager, which is a sex comedy game where you build and manage brothels for magical creatures. Guys, it's simple. I want to see ants come. Is it sap? What material? Is it pollen? They must reproduce somehow. On a little bit more, on a more serious note, I think, sex and sexuality is missing from a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, not just hidden, it's completely ignored. If you think about like Tolkien, Gimli says, oh, we have female dwarves somewhere, but they just have long beards, so people mistake them for men. And it's like a gaffe. It's like, ha, yes, I guess they fuck, and that's how they reproduce.
An 8-page song about dwarven sexuality.
Yeah. Like this is a normal and necessary part of being human, but it's missing. And sometimes it's like big question marks. Like, okay, so the elves, what are they doing in their spare? Like, do they get like big question marks? So Andor sex scene, I think, blew the gate off Star Wars. We were like, whoa, this is the first sex scene in Star Wars. I mean, it wasn't explicit, it was implied. But, up until now, there was no implication that these people reproduce. They lusted after each other, if you count like Han Solo and Leia, in sometimes weird ways. If you watch that now, you're like, that's a little, it's just like shoving her in a corner and kissing her. I don't know if that's the way to go about this. But
so it's a long time ago.
It's cool to explore, and true. It's cool to explore this sort of fantasy sexuality of like, do fire golems get horny, right? Like, are wood elves kinky? Like, I think they are, like, just because they look like they might be with all their piercings and wearing leaves and shit. And is Obi-Wan with consent, like force choking bitches on Tatooine? Like, he's in exile. He has nothing else to do. He's in the desert. Is he like, I think he might use the force in the bedroom. That's all I'm thinking. I think it's a possibility. And so this seems to have like a theme hospital management layer to it. So you have like strategy, and you're running you're running a brothel for all these creatures. And I just think it's a fun take on what you can do in a game and how you can explore some stuff as well. I think 20% horny is what I'm getting from the game. Like lots of ass shots, lots of sexy creatures. So it's not, this isn't an academic pursuit, folks. I think people are stroking to this game probably, but I do want to play it. It looks fun. It looks like it's going to have some depth to it as well. So fantasy brothel, man. Any guys, you want to dive in? You want to come to my brothel? What's going on?
I feel pretty pent up after all these gacha games.
And I know Bobby has his keyboard, so I won't ask. All right. What is our community up to? First, want to thank all our patrons. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. I do want to mention, we have an exit poll for when you stop being a patron. And I looked at it the other day, and every single reported reason was my financial situation has changed or other. So people just don't want to mention why they cancel. And a lot of the messages that people could write in that section was, hey guys, going to be gone for 6 months or whatever, lost my job, love it, keep going. Or, hey guys, going back to school, just need my discretionary money to go elsewhere. We're so thankful for any money that you can give us voluntarily, not in a gacha mechanic. You're getting nothing. You're getting some rewards through Patreon, but you're voluntarily supporting us this way with your cold hard cash, and just know that it's appreciated. And if you need to cancel, obviously there's no hard feelings, or you do you. We understand, and we're thankful for whatever we can get. But we're especially thankful for Truthbringer, our executive producer, who supports us way more than everyone else. Thank you, Truthbringer, for having that role. Bobby, listener questions, corrections, comments?
All right. First listener question is from Cubic Zirconia on Discord. And he asks, what Stellaris DLC do I need to get started in the game for the first time?
And so for Stellaris, the cool thing about the DLCs is they all add mechanics to the game that are available just through the base game. So a lot of the times the DLC will add like, now you can have tree people, or now you can build certain mega structures, was a Stellaris DLC. But that is all kind of window dressings on the core part of the game. I think if you haven't played Stellaris before, you can buy Stellaris. I think it's pretty cheap right now, maybe around $20, and have a great time. Then once you've gotten 100 or 200 years into your Stellaris playthrough, that's when I would start looking at the DLCs and buy what you're interested in. So if you're like me and you're a sucker for organic spaceships in sci-fi, which is like very specific, but it reminds me of like the Yuzhen Vong in the Star Wars extended universe, you can get that DLC. If you're interested in mega structures, like your Death Stars, your power rings, your halos, if you're interested in that sort of sci-fi, buy that DLC. If you're interested in space corporations, buy the Megacorp DLC. And I think that is the way to go about it, because you don't want to load up on a bunch of DLC that you're not going to use. The thing with this DLC is it's mostly selectable options from the start of your species or race, or how you're going to play Stellaris. There is a story pack, a Leviathan story pack. I think it's now included in the base game too. Anyways, this is a long-winded answer to say, I don't think you need DLC to enjoy Stellaris, but once you play it, scroll through the list and see what type of sci-fi speaks to you, and then just buy that specific expansion pack.
I think I have over 100 hours in the game with maybe one DLC that I bought once.
Okay.
Because I thought it was cool. So yeah, you definitely don't need it to get started.
Sweet.
All right. Next question. This comes to us from TikTok, from Eternal Screaming in Hell. Lovely. To be fair, the cold hard cash is to pay for the unique gameplay mechanics they introduce for the factions in question. In Rome Total War, pretty much every faction played the same, just with a different unit and building roster. Is it worth the money, though? Probably not. so much half the time. We're forgetting the main thing about Rome Total War, though, which is the fact that at the lowest graphical setting, all your guys got funny pointy legs instead of feet.
Which I booted up Rome Total War Remastered when I saw this comment, and I reduced the graphical settings to low. And unfortunately, in the remastered edition, they did not include this fun fact, which is lame. But yeah, I wanted to include that comment because, like, yeah, dude, you're right. Like, Warhammer Total War is one of the best, and all the factions play pretty much differently, completely differently from each other, and only possible with a big fucking team spending a lot of time. And Rome Total War was essentially just copies of the factions with slightly different units, but pretty much playing exactly the same way.
I got spearmen, and I got other spearmen, dude.
Exactly. Hey, that guy has camel cavalry, and I have horse cavalry. Those other guys over there, they got fucking elephants. All the exact same unit for sure.
Okay, final question coming from mbrad62001 on Spotify. It sounds like a fire alarm or fax machine in the background during the episode, but P.S. longtime listener, love the show. Just wanted to let you guys know.
Do you guys hear anything? I don't.
No?
I don't
Is that
hear.
my 1995 dial-up?
I don't know what this guy's talking about. I can't hear anything.
I would check your fax machine, man.
Yeah, maybe it's
Or
your
lady.
fax machine. I don't think it's us. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. That's it for
No,
listener questions.
thanks. We do appreciate people letting us know about audio quality issues and stuff like
Of
that.
course.
Like, for real.
Yes, we do.
If there's something up, let us know. We want to have the best quality product we can put out.
Of course. And my reply to mbrad62001 on Spotify was serious. Said, thank you. Where did you hear that? I listened back to the episode. I just didn't hear it. And then I never got a reply, mbrad62001. So mbrad62001, if you are listening to this right now, let us know when you heard the fax machine this episode. I'd be interested in that as well. Taylor, off the dome, do you have a plug?
No, I just would say come to the Discord to check out our fun stuff we do there. We do game nights. We have weekly discussions, and Bobby posts at length about his keyboard.
Yes. Yeah, he posted some pretty slutty pictures of his keyboard earlier.
It was totally undressed, man. I don't know. That might have had to gone in the not safe for work section.
As the C-3PO would say, his parts are showing, bro. Come on. All right, that's the episode. My name is Christian. Joining us today was Taylor and Bobby. Next episode, Bobby is commanding and conquering. You don't want to miss it. At least I don't. Taylor, what do we got going on for the outro here?
This week, we've got the main theme from No One Lives Forever 2, one of my favorite first-person shooter games from my teenage years. So enjoy.
It's like Austin Powers.
It is. It's a spy comedy spoof.